ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the show. Are you ready? Are you ready? Get ready, get ready, get ready! Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Everybody under the sound of my voice, welcome to Unveiled Vibrations. Let me get my mind right for a second. Buckle up, hold on tight, y'all. We got a lot to discuss tonight. A lot has happened since my last live. And I would like to thank everyone that was there last Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. for the live known as What's Going On. Tonight, I originally had planned on just doing some music reviews and talking about music and maybe mess around and dabble in making a beat or something. But y'all, the world been acting up. So I got to come in here and talk about it. So, if you're new here, I thank you for dropping by. My name is TD McCollum. And I also go by Unveiled Vibrations. This is my separate channel where I like to discuss the things that we don't like to openly discuss and have the in-depth conversation and really dive into the other side of things, a little more intrusive thoughts, a little more darker thoughts about things, and kind of just share my thoughts and feelings, because I'm normally a quiet person and don't really say too much because it's a little dark sometimes. And so with the help of my community, my friends, families, mentors, they told me I should get out there and say something. I should be more vocal. And that is what I am here to do now. So buckle up, hold on tight. Excuse my beverage drinking. So right now I would like to say hello to a few people that is here in the chat with me and pay some homage to them, letting them know I appreciate them coming and dropping by. If you feel free to add to the conversation, please do so. Drop a comment below. Here tonight, I have the great JoJo Speaks. Welcome, 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 welcome. JoJo Speaks says, good evening, family. Good evening to you, sir. And I have the lovely the beautiful Bianca Edwards. She's here tonight. She says, Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you as well. JoJo Speak says hello to her. Hey, Bianca. And she says, Hey, JoJo Speaks. Happy Wednesday. And I have the lovely Jennifer Star McCollum in the chat. Welcome, lovely lady. Thank you for coming. She says, Hey. Hey, yourself. Yeah. Appreciate you. Got that right. My husband got something to say. That's my wife. If y'all don't know, and now you should know. And Bianca says, Happy Wednesday to Jen. She says, Hey. JoJo Speak says hello to Jennifer. And they have a lovely exchange of hello. And my brother, my main man, JoJo Speak says, That's how I would say it, Tyrone. Yes, I do. I know you, brother. And look at here. The world famous runner and track star, Tammy L, is in the chat, aka the West Virginia runner girl. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you here tonight. She says, Hello, everyone. And we have our greetings and exchange to her from Bianca and JoJo Speaks. All right. First up on my docket tonight, we had something tragic to happen today. Political influencer and I would say a podcaster and among other things that he has done, Charlie Kirk unfortunately was unalived today. Tragically, he was attacked while at a gathering of peoples doing what he did best in his career that he's carved out for himself, and have a debate talking about things that he has seen go on in the United States and his thoughts and feelings, and wanting to have the conversation about it. And during that conversation, unfortunately, someone violently decided that they wanted to retaliate against him and take their frustrations of whatever is happening in their lives and people that they know lives out on him. I'm gonna tell you this, I don't condone what happened. That is not the answer to outing your frustrations, period. My intrusive thoughts are this. Unfortunately, although this was an unfortunate thing, what I have seen and Charlie Kirk's stances on things, particularly racial things, I think and feel these things fueled what happened to him, because he has been fanning all kinds of things throughout various communities and sparking unrest. And Although I don't wish this to happen to anyone. I had a conversation with a friend earlier about this. You know how sometimes when we see on the news these rappers are getting their tour buses shot up or they're getting shot at the club, and we kind of just shrug it off as that's the lifestyle. I kind of want to put them in the same vein right now, unfortunately, because the rhetoric that he was pushing, it brokered this lifestyle of potentially being a target, unfortunately, a violent target, because at times his voice comes off so dismissive to the real pain that people have suffered. And he himself, on a recent video that I've seen, talked about not having empathy. And it's something made up and it's a woke ideology. And unfortunately, I think in this moment, those are words that he has to eat. Because when it comes down to the end of the day, that is what he would have wanted from people if he was still here. He wanted people to look at the circumstances and give empathy to the circumstances. And you have to be in the space of giving empathy to receive empathy sometimes. Because we'll be in this very state right now where we're questioning whether or not empathy is something that we can give to you because you did not offer it to anyone else. And what I hate most about this too is when the news broke out, the Republicans automatically blamed this all on liberals and the Democrats, and this is their fault. I disagree wholeheartedly because this issue is an American issue. Gun violence across this nation isn't just a racial thing. It's not just a religious thing. It's not just a political thing. It's a countrywide thing because everyone is affected by it, not just one set of people. And to know that Charlie Kirk was one of the people that was promoting and pushing misinformation such as 50% of all violent crimes nationwide are by African Americans. And it's the reason why we have a high incarceration rate. But hand wave to the violence that is by other ethnicities. And to know that the very person that ended his forward progress today is of same kind as he is. And we talk about skin folk. And I hate to push this narrative of how ironic and the bad choices of words that were utilized even up to the very last moment of his day today. It's heartbreaking that you can take such a hard stance and I not even think about the repercussions of what it will do on your life by itself. My prayers, my thoughts are with his family and loved ones, his children that were there, the other people that were there as spectators to have this conversation with him and to be a witness to a violent crime. And that's what I'm going to call it, a violent crime. And excuse me, Lord, forgive me for putting it this way, but I have to say it this way. This was white on white crime. This was an act of terror on our nation. This was a physical political assassination of an American, not just a white man, not just a Republican. Put all that aside. We need to put all of that to the side for us to have the real conversation about the real issue that is at hand. And that real issue is that we, America, have a problem with guns. And to know that this happened in Utah. And my second topic I wanted to talk about tonight, that literally just a few states away, there was another moment today at a school. And to know that these political people of power kind of brushed that off to focus on Charlie and what happened to Charlie, and because of how egregious things were with Charlie, and hand wave, oh yeah, no. We understand that there was a tragedy there too, but we need to talk about what happened to Charlie. Children were involved in Colorado. And to know that within these last 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, not even a month, this is the second or third event of gun violence. I'm saying it. I'm not sugarcoating it and calling it pew pew and all that stuff. I don't care, because the conversation needs to be had. It needs to be made real, because there's too much hand waving, and we're looking past these situations so candidly and being so nonchalant about it and thinking that it's going to work itself out. And the question came up as I was watching all the major and mid-major political analysts and news reporters talk about what is going to happen now. Are we now going to have the conversation, or is it's going to be business as usual? We'll put the flags at half staff for a few days and then go right back to the regular scheduled program. like nothing happened. And apparently now people are up in arms because it was Charlie Kirk, white male, that was unalive. But you weren't upset when it was children. We talk about pro life and standing up for keeping people alive and making sure people are able to prosper, but we don't have the conversation about one of the biggest and most deadliest tool that is utilized to commit events of violence in this nation. And what always happens on the back end of this, after the moment of silence, after the half flag staff, after the tears and the follow up news reports, is the finger pointing and the should, coulda, wouldas, and everybody goes back to their sparring corners and no real solution is ever made. And the question is why? Why don't we take this battle to where it needs to go? In my opinion, this battle needs to go federally and to the state. Yeah, there are some states that have tougher gun laws than others. There's other regulations, but at the end of the day, none of it is working. My opinion is this Second Amendment right and everything that it stands for in this country has completely taken on a whole nother meaning. And to hear the rhetoric today is it's our God-given right to have a gun, when that's simply not true. It's not true. Man gave you that right. And I wholeheartedly believe man needs to take that right back, because we have lost our way as an American people, as a country, because that quote unquote God given right is not, and I say this with all my chest, utilized with God first. God has nothing to do with guns. But there is a political party that likes to throw around that in their rhetoric of things that they like to say. These political sayings is God and guns and whatever they, however they say it. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then when we have these type of events, a lot of people go and grab and hold their guns closer instead of putting them down, because they fear the lack of power that comes with having a gun. No one talks about the responsibility of having a gun until we have tragedy and conflict. And frankly, we're not responsible as a nation to have such a tool because many people's first thought to resolve a conflict is to grab that said tool to end the conversation. No matter how, which way ever that conversation may go. You got the best of me, and I'm going to get the best of you this way. I don't like how you frame this and that, so I'm going to make it so that you can't ever say these things ever again. We, the people, must take the power of these weapons back. Because if we don't do it ourselves, as we've seen so far, politicians simply wave their hands. It's out of my hands. There's nothing I can do. My hands are tied. And to simply just sit there and say, what a tragedy, shake their head, bring crocodile tears for a moment, and just move right along with life. To me, that is unholy. And to say that we're a Christian led nation, it's disrespectful to Christ and what he sacrificed himself for. Y'all may say, hey, that's a bold statement to say. I stand on that. Because this country isn't Christ led. Not acting like this. And to make the violence about race, color, and creed is absolutely horrific thing to do. I just don't understand why take such a stance. Because at the end of the day, what we're promoting is division. And I said this a while back, not on anybody's live or anything like this. This was something I said in a room of silence. There is no United States. This is the divided states of America. A republic that doesn't stand. A divided nation. Still under God. Because God is still in the business. He ain't going nowhere. But what I'd say this, and I say this with a heavy heart. America doesn't love America. The people that reside in this land only love themselves. Now, I'm not talking about the people that are genuinely good people. I'm talking about the bad people. The people that chase after power, the people that are greedy and don't care who they step on to get what they want. Those are the people I'm talking about. And from what I see from my vantage point, they were the minority. And now they have become the majority. Somewhere along the line, they had a change of heart. And it's hard to pinpoint where that was absolutely um, in time, because there are so many different moments in time where the heart of America will actually show up, and then it just disappears. It vanishes like a puff of smoke. It just, and we're left sitting back wondering, where is America's heart? Because we can sit up here and watch people get rounded up by ICE agents and think that it's okay because they weren't meant to be here anyway. But on the other hand, invite people from another country over to help us to build and expand this nation. It's so hypocritical, because it in another moment that I want to talk about specifically, this talks to is what happened here in Georgia. You have the Hyundai company from South Korea wanting to strengthen its relationship with America, a country that they seen they seem to feel that we are worthy of working with and worthy of investing in and helping reshape our economy and help us to be self-sustaining in certain areas. And what specifically happened here in Georgia was Hyundai was building a multi-million dollar car manufacture plant, and there was a number of other projects that would have come out of there, like renewable energy, as far as electric um, items like solar panels and all kinds of other stuff coming from this one plant near Savannah, Georgia. And I didn't really speak on this, but I saw something back in June and July that had my eyebrow raised. Like, what is this all about? What's going on? Um, Back then, I saw there was a uptake in ICE hiring, and uh, new agents were coming into the field or moving here from other places around the country. And I began to wonder what was going on with this mass wave going. And what was odd about it was it went specifically to that region, Savannah, Brunswick, Georgia area. And I was just wondering, like, what is going to happen over there? Because that's a lot of manpower moving into the region that usually is calm. The Brunswick Savannah area is usually calm. They might have, every now and then some racial tensions because of that has been something that has been in that region for a while. That every now and then you have this flare up of something racial will go on there. Maud Aubrey was one of those situations, and everything would die down. But this one, it was just on my radar for a little bit too long, and I wondered where it was going to lead to. And over the weekend, there was a raid over at the Hyundai plant, and they detained more than 400 people, and most of them were South Koreans. And the allegation was that they were here working illegally, and they overstayed their visa for those that did have work visas and other non-working visas, and they were underpaying these people. And to know that there was this lady who supposedly is running for office in the region decided that she wanted to report them and politicize this whole situation as there's a bunch of illegals taking jobs from Americans, and someone has to put a stop to this. And she decided to pick up that badge and be the quote unquote whistleblower to the situation, and kind of find out there was an agreement with the United States and South Korea for them to build this plant with Hyundai to bring upwards to 9,000 new jobs. And because there were mostly South Korean workers there, and this person felt that those jobs should be American jobs instead of these people from South Korea. And I don't even think she thought they were from South Korea. I don't think she knew that they were from South Korea, and the Hyundai company was a South Korean company. I ultimately think that she was thinking, allegedly, that these were Hispanics. And I'm alleging that she ultimately was looking for this to be her opportunity to make a political come up and showcase that she is here for the American people, and she's trying to crack down on illegal employment activities. And what ensued afterwards was the facts coming out. The facts that America brokered this deal because of the tariffs to build here in America a factory that we can have American jobs and American people build these cars for America. And now she blew it. Over 400 South Koreans detained and questioned and mistreated because Karen called the police. Instead of South Korea passing the baton on, they're now pulling the whole entire project, multi-billion-dollar project that was going to bring 9,000 much-needed jobs. As we just got a job report that was saying that the United States job creations are underperforming. Congratulations, young lady. You won. This game that you played, FAFO, to understand the game of FAFO, there are consequences, and these consequences come in the form of stupid prizes when you play this stupid game of FAFO. And My opinion is this: you should not be eligible to run for nothing ever again in your life because we can't trust your judgment. We can't trust that you're going to do the right thing. We can't trust that you're going to do the work to do the research before getting hyped up off of your personal ideologies. You should never, ever be trusted ever again because as a Georgian, that's a job that I could have, would have thought about applying to if I lived in a region, but I don't live in that region. But guess what? It's not available now. And I'm sorry to say this, but it was racially motivated because you felt that those jobs should go to who? People that looked like you instead of the people that were there. And to understand that the reason why there were so many there was because everything was written in Korean because it's a Korean based company. South Korea specific. And guess what? They don't teach that language in American schools. So that ain't something that we can just send a PDF of and have you to read and know what the hell you're doing. That ain't something that we can just pull up Google Translate and automatically be able to function with from day one. Because there are nuances in these languages that we don't teach here in America. That don't translate. Certain words don't mean the same thing. And it needs to be brokered by the native. But hey, you don't even care nothing about that. You only care about what you wanted. And this is what I was talking about earlier, how selfish people are. Because at the end of the day, it was about your political career and you trying to boast yourself up on the backs of, I made a huge ice bust. I'm the one that was, and for you to boast about, I was the one that called it in. You stupid, dumb lady. You're an idiot and you don't deserve to be even looked at anymore as someone that is trustworthy at all. Like you should not be able to walk out your house with your head up high. No one should garner your name in the same vein that it once was because you have ruined a good thing for America. Congratulations. You've won. Hold that L, frame it, put it in a chain, and wear it because you won that one. You did that, honey. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, did. And for I don't believe you if you say that it was for the American people. Nope. Don't believe you. Not one bit. I got some comments here, and I'm heated over all of this these last couple of days because what are we doing? Like, it, we talked about how the Biden administration was leading this country in the wrong direction. And people want to hand wave everything that this new administration has been doing. I can't do that. Nope. Uh-uh. Because it doesn't make sense to just, oh, well, things will get better when they haven't. Since day one, everything has been going down. And this blame of the previous administration for it going down, the amount of deflection and using them as a scapegoat has gotten on my nerves. Miss Tabby says their reaction was more than when the school shooting happened a few weeks ago. It upsets me that you're more upset about Charlie Kirk than what happened just a few weeks ago. And then to have it happen again today at another school. And the Speaker of the House, when it was presented to him from the floor that it happened, your words was, we'll get to that in a minute. I got something else on the agenda to get to first. That lets me know that y'all don't have any heart. Congress, mainly the Republicans, it doesn't feel like it. Miss Bianca says, I was wondering if it was one of them that did it. Let me tell you something. As more and more information came out about what happened in Charlie Kirk today, as more videos started to surface, it was an intrusive thought to me that this was planned. Because I said this a few weeks ago when Mr. Trump was missing for a few days and then such a system. And this was an offline conversation that I had saying something is going to happen around 9/11 this year. Today is September 10th. Tomorrow is September 11th. And I still kind of feel something more is on its way tomorrow. And I don't know what to say about that because that's call it my intuition. It's something that I feel in the air, and to look at this situation, conspiracy theory is this was a political distraction from the Epstein stuff. It's just unfortunate it had to be Charlie that was the sacrificial lamb. I don't like saying it that way, but the fact that Donald Trump was the first to report that Charlie has left the building is suspicious. Friendship aside, acquaintance aside, I I think that is mighty suspicious that local authorities hadn't announced this. The local news hadn't announced it, but the president announced it first. Miss Kim, welcome, welcome. She says we can have the real conversation. They will not have the real conversation. They will politicize this and make Charlie Kirk a martyr. I agree. The groundwork has already begun because of how they moved as a people of authority. And I would just say like this, just sit back and watch how things unfold in the news and who comes to the forefront and speaks because uh what's this girl name? Mace? I forgot her name, her first name. But she's a part of this cabinet of the Trump administration, and she came forth, and the first thing that she came out of her mouth with was, "This was a liberal leftist. This is on their hands. This is all their fault." Mm-mm. Don't even know. And what was funny about her saying that, they haven't even apprehended the shooter at the time when she said it to even know what the affiliation would be. Miss Tammy said, I believe that's why the reaction to the school issue was downplayed because of who did it. If it had been someone of black or brown skin, it would have been so different. Absolutely. It makes me think about what happened in Texas last year. Was it a year before last? It it happens so often, unfortunately, that we have to dig deep into the archives to pull up exact moments. But this was a Hispanic young man, and the way they attacked him racially is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Think about the other incident where the black gentleman was in his pickup truck in New Orleans and went down Bourbon Street, and how they framed that versus the gentleman that was in Vegas that set the car ablaze and started shooting. Absolutely two different narratives and framework being utilized. That is scary that they can switch things up so easily and not care of how it's absorbed by the American people and what it sparks in the people. And inevitably, what other homegrown terrorists would come from it. I'm calling it a homegrown terrorist because they don't want to call it that. When these type of people come out of the narratives and ideologies that are being pushed politically, yeah, they're homegrown terrorists. Hmm. I said it. And talking about this young lady, this Miss Thing over here, Miss Georgia, Miss Kemp says, and she wasn't aware of the jobs that those Korean engineers were preparing for the Georgia people. So for her to be so caught in all of that, it is just absolutely ridiculous. And I agree with you. I'm mentally exhausted. Uh, I feel like I'm close to losing it. And I'm not quite close to losing it, but um, I would have to say like this coming up here and talking about my thoughts on these situations is a little bit therapeutic for me. Ah, man. And Ms. Kemp says the country was thriving under the Biden administration. We were going in the right direction. The problem with that was this: the Biden administration did not do a good job of telling all the good things that they were doing. They would just do stuff and just let it speak for itself. And one thing that they should have taken out of the playbook of Obama and unfortunately Donald Trump was they needed to take advantage of the political theater space and state what accomplishments that were made and how it will change things for the better and how long it would take. A lot of the things that the Biden Harris administration did are things that would take years to fall into place or months to start to take an effect. And people were hurting in areas that they they weren't aware that their issues were being addressed until after the fact. Like a lot of these farmers weren't aware of their issues being addressed by them until now. They're like, oh, wait, I don't have access to the funds that I need anymore because either one, they expired, or this new administration ended the program that was put in place by the previous administration. And we can't get any answers of why. outside of it's political? Huh. Right. Miss Bianca says, Miss Kip, don't lose it over what you can't control. We can't control this, but we are definitely on this sinking ship. Uh, you'll crash out today, and they'll do the same thing tomorrow. Yeah, just stay prayed up and ask God to keep you safe from this foolishness. Absolutely, we got to stay prayed up and ask for God's protection. This is something that we talk about quite often on Saturday mornings on Faithful Warrior Ministries right here on YouTube uh, at 10 ish every Saturday. Is your prayer life solid? If not, start it and keep up with it. Bianca says, oh my, not something more. We have to stay prayed up. Yeah, we got to stay prayed up. Jennifer Stein McCollum says, that is kind of weird. Since when the president makes announcements like that? Like I said, it's strange that you announced his passing. And okay, I'll say it like this. My my intuition is telling me when it happened and he was in transit to the hospital in Utah, hearing about it, the president called and spoke with his wife, and they got the news then. And that is the reason why he knew about it first. Because he states that he has a solid relationship or had a solid relationship with Charlie Kirk. And he admired Charlie Kirk. That's what they say. I'm not sure if I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't. I I think, and I'll say it this way specifically. Um, Trump liked him because he was a sympathizer of Trump, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah, it was a white person that did the school pew pew pow pow too, and yet again the hand waved because on the previous school they made it all about the LGBT because the person was a transgender person. We don't focus on the real issue was potentially that this person had been alienated because of their lifestyle. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the mental challenges that come from that a target of the majority. And what we see quite often when the majority attacks and the minority retaliates, everybody's putting their hands up. I didn't do anything wrong. When you were the instigator from the start. Does it justify what they did? No. But the reality is that person felt like a third rate citizen. And for this to be surrounded by the church, it makes me question, was this church right with God? Ms. Kim says, I agree. The previous administration was doing the work. I wish they bragged more about their progress and policies. Absolutely. Because you, I, one of the worst moments in Biden's leadership was the moment when they first brought to his attention the cost of eggs is going up. And his stance was, you worried about eggs? I got a whole country that's on the brink of falling apart, and I'm trying to hold it together the best way we can. And you're worried about the cost of eggs? Hindsight 2020, hey, he was right to be upset because these two things were not alike in nature. Financial stability and future of entire country, 12 eggs. And for this current administration to politicize that and say, in the campaign, and make it a campaign promise, I'm going to bring down the cost of eggs. And American people fell for it. And what's even funnier, just the other day, Trump had his moment. Mr. President, what are you going to do about the price of beef? The price of beef is going up. And he was so dismissive about the question. Like, you wanted to bash Biden for his answer towards eggs. And here you go having your own very same moment. It's just with beef. Yeah, the cost of beef is going up because the farmers, they don't have the workforce that they once had. They don't have the subsidies that they once had to grow their business because you took it away. And then because you enacted these outrageous levels of tariffs on every country around the world, they don't want to buy in America beef anymore. They'd rather get it from Australia. And now that they're getting it from other means, guess what? That means America's economy is suffering from it. Because The almighty dollar ain't moving like it's not moving the way it used to because of your actions. And then your thing is, oh, look, it was the Biden administration that led us here. They had the worst economy. They were a joke. No, you're the joke. And you hate to admit that you were wrong. You got it wrong too. Because there were some things that Biden got wrong about our economy. They didn't know how bad things were when they took over for Mr. Trump after the pandemic, during the pandemic. Because what American people don't understand about economics is the paper trail. Because America people only go off of their gut feeling and what they can tangibly see. This is what made COVID so bad because they couldn't see the disease coming, so they didn't know how bad it was. And right now, the American people don't see the recession coming. Some people can feel it. And I don't say the word recession lightly because the last time we were here, they were afraid of painting it that way. We're in a recession because what they know what the American people will do when they hear these buzzwords, recession, the American people will pull all their dollars out the bank. The American people will stop spending. And when they stop spending, the economy falls completely apart. This is why during the pandemic, they gave us stimulus checks because they wanted us to spend more than they wanted us to, because they tried to balance it. We give y'all this money to pump into the economy by going out and purchasing goods. Hopefully, these goods were American, so we can keep these dollars here in America. But unfortunately, they gave us too much money to keep things going. And what's so hilarious about it is if they didn't do it, we would be worse off than we are right now. Because the last recession, uh, during the Bush administration, was caused by the housing market, which bled into the automotive industry, which bled into the food industry and retail industry. It's always a domino effect of when it starts, it keeps going until somebody puts a prop up to hold things in place from falling completely apart. And unfortunately, the American people keep forgetting who has the ideas to fix those things? And who's creative enough to generate that prop and get things back somewhat on track? They always forget that America has its greatest growth under Democrats. And the counterbalance to that is the Republicans saying that we spend too much, we spend too much. But the caveat on it was so facetious about that, as the Republicans know that we have to spend more to correct things, but we don't want to paint it that way. We don't want to give the narrative that we have to spend more to correct things. And so they act like we're cutting things and pulling back, being conservative and wanting to hold on to it and point that out. And at the same time, we're going to spend $3 trillion more over our budget to balance the budget. And then wonder where inflation comes from. And a lot of people don't understand that the way inflation happens is because of spending. And although the Federal Reserve is a separate entity that works with our federal government, that creates the money for the federal government to use, if there is too much money floating around, it weakens the dollar value, which leads to the inflation because they try to balance each other out. Unfortunately, that's how they try to balance things out. So, in order to pull back the amount of money circulating, they increase the costs and they increase the interest because they don't want overspending to continue. Because when we overspend, what happens is a company decides, well, you guys have more money to pay for this, so I can charge more. And in the act of them charging more, that cost is then given to the American people. And everybody's like, well, why? Why are things going up? Well, think of it like this. If the carton that the eggs are sitting in cost goes up, the material that carton is made of cost goes up. That cost goes to the farm that picks up those eggs and put them in those cartons. And that cost is passed on to The farm. These farms don't create the egg cartons themselves. They buy that. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So if their cost goes up, well, the farm got to pay more for the carton to hold the same amount of eggs. Okay. Well, now if gas goes up, the farm has to pay for the cost of the delivery of those eggs. Now you got two costs that went up on this farm. American people think that the farm is supposed to eat that cost. The problem with doing that is that cuts out their profit. And when that cuts out their profit, they can't grow the business. And when they can't grow the business will eventually fail. And when people wonder why companies go out of business, it's the simple truth of supply and demand comes into play. Supply and demand says if my cost goes up, so does my sales price need to go up. If I don't increase my sales price, I cut my profit margin. And when I cut my profit margin over time, I begin to lose money. And if I lose money, I can't cover my losses at the same rate. Because the dollar is not the dollar anymore. This is why over time, Now-laters, candies went from being a penny to a nickel to a dime to a quarter to 50 cents to a dollar to $1.25 or $1.10. Think about the stick of gum that we used to be able to get for 25 cents. At one time that used to be 15 cents. It went to 25 cents. Then it went to 50 cents. Because the company's costs went up. And the misinformation that was put out there that tariffs are a tax on the country. Yeah, you can look at it that way, but you're going to be severely deficient in adequate information because the country does not subsidize the cost to a company that is exporting goods. What I mean by subsidized, they don't offer them a credit on export goods. They don't give them funding to export goods. They're actually charged to export goods from their home country. It's not free. And then to have an added charge to the country that you're sending it to that's higher than the country that you're sending it from, you must increase the cost to cover the loss. And unfortunately, what happens, like with soybeans, if our cost is too high, shipping it from America to China, and China can get it from India for half the cost, why would they continue getting it from America? And what do you end up having? Companies fighting in a price war. And if India is able to get the product to China faster than America, guess what? They lost twice the cost and the speed of distribution. Instead of waiting 2.5 weeks, it's just going to take me 3 or 4 days. Well, I, I'm going to go where it's cheaper and where I got it faster. This is where Amazon became king because it was cheaper than going to the store and spending our gas, and it would get there just as fast as us going to the store, if not sooner. It's why so many people stopped shopping at regular grocery stores and went to Walmart because Walmart had everything that they needed for cheaper. Walmart positioned themselves closer. They presented themselves as a one stop shop. And if I can find a one stop shop and get everything I need for cheaper, guess what? You bet your bottom dollar I am going to do that instead of being a loyalist and wind up bankrupt. But hey, it is what it is with that. I appreciate you. And what I formally call is what's going on. Uh, Tonight was about the music, and I'm going to get into that next. Ooh. So, hey Drake, I hear you had a new song to drop. In fact, it was a music video, a little movie sketch that you put together called ICEMAN 3. I took a listen to it, and the reason why I did because over the last, I would say, like a month or two, excuse me, it became the talk of the town. Drake, have you heard the latest Drake? And it was kind of good. It was just all the way bad. Um, so I said, "Hey, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take a listen because I'm a hip hop head. I love rap. I grew up listening to it, and Although I'm not a Drake fan, he does have some songs that I enjoyed over the years. And so I decided, why not? Go ahead and take a listen to Mr. Drake. And when doing so, um, I absolutely regret doing it because it was a waste of my time. Drake, you, sir, have completely lost your identity as an artist. And I'm pretty sure you out there and you listen to the commentary that people that talk about you, and you would say, well, as you said in one of your songs, what did I miss? Recent songs, what did I miss? Acting like you've been under a rock somewhere and unaware of anything that's going on. Sorry, sir. The direction that you're going in musically right now is very lackluster. And I'll tell you why it's lackluster. Because the Drake that all of us enjoyed listening to disappeared along the way. And what I think happened was you decided to align yourself with the popular sound instead of sticking to the sound that you created, because you were trying to evolve as an artist, as an artiste, and show your range that I can do it all. And yet, along the way of trying to do it all, you forgot what your core sound was. And so now you're just experimenting and just throwing out random stuff, and it is missing more than it hits. And it makes me wonder if you're absolutely honed in on who you are as an artist, and I will have to tell you, no, you don't know who you are as an artist. And I understand that because being a musician, you go through these seasons of discovery of sounds and rediscovery of what your likes and dislikes are. And it's okay. But at the end of the day, when you're putting things out commercially, you have to be aware of how you representing yourself as a brand and as the art. And I don't think you're conscious of it. And frankly, I think this beef battle that you had with Kendrick Lamar last year threw you completely off your game because you were trying to compete for the top dog in the culture. And when the culture said this ain't it, and what Kendrick presented was hot and you're not, it freaked you out. And so now you're like a little kid. Well, I'm gonna do what I want. I, yeah. If y'all love me, y'all be there when I drop. Hip hop doesn't work that way, Drake. Hip hop has never worked that way because hip hop's relationship between artists and fans is way deeper than that. And you will have your loyalists, your purists that will stay there no matter what. But unfortunately, I have to say this, your time in the sun has come to an end. And you got to know when to take a step back as an artist to reform yourself, to hibernate a bit, get your bearings back, and come back swinging harder than before. And know that the industry isn't going to completely forget about you because look at the clips and how long they've been gone. And they just dropped one of the hottest albums that we heard in a long time by a rap duo. Brother, step away from the mic. Just cancel this Iceman album because the stuff that I've heard on this so far is B-side all the way. Yeah, you might get some promoters and DJs to play that joint in the club. They might hit the radio, but it ain't gonna sustain because it ain't, it ain't it, man. It's just not it. And if you're happy with it, then okay. That's your day. That's your bad. That's your red wagon. You can push it or pull it however you want to. But I'm telling you right now, buddy. Nah, this ain't it. Cause and it makes me laugh to watch the other hip hop commentators talk about it and do their reviews, and I sit there and I look and listen to what they're saying. And initially, I was like, it can't be that bad. It can't be. And it's really that bad. And it makes me wonder, like, who are you? Who are you? Like Jennifer Star McCullum says here, he wanted to be everyone else so bad. Like, who are you, Drake? It's a problem right now because you don't sound like Drake. And I started to question if it was you, truthfully, or did you take somebody else's vocals and put some AI enhancement on it to make it sound like you? Miss Kemp says Drake needs to go on a 18-month sabbatical, get the creative juices flowing, find himself, figure out what he wants to say, create a new sound. I absolutely agree because when Some of these tracks that I heard recently sounds like some of these YN rappers, and like borrowed their style. I know a lot of people like to say that you steal from other artists a lot, but I will give you the benefit of the doubt and say you borrowed. You were influenced by all these people's sounds, and it happens as musicians, from one musician to another, one artist to another. That we share and borrow from each other. That is what makes the music industry the music industry. But this ain't it, Trey. This ain't it. Um, the latest main song, man, I was just like, what is this? That was a part of this Iceman 3 episode. I mean, Iceman episode 3 compilation, and I was just floored because it was I like the beat. Um, I wasn't too sure about the switch up 3 times in the beat. Like you could have stuck in there a little bit longer, but I think because you are in a space of trying to find who you are, this is what you are doing. You're just all over the place musically, and I get it. I get it because I myself have been all over the place musically, and not sure what sound to produce. And I don't really have anyone, and this is me talking about my own. I don't really have anyone to help brainstorm with, and being in that space of not having a team to brainstorm with and bounce ideas off of, and be able to collaborate, it weakens the overall project because the spontaneous combustion known as music creation is only limited to the scope that you can see and the level of your ear at the time of creation. And so if you can't work with someone and have an extra ear on things, you put yourself in a box. Yourself is in this box, and once you're in that box, it's hard to climb out of it, unfortunately, because um, your ear is pigeonholed to just one thing, and if you're only trusting your ear for that one thing, you're bound to have some misses. And unfortunately, that's where you're already. You're in a space of missing a lot of misses because it don't matter if you got the hottest beat. You can have the hottest beat ever. If your melody is trash, the context of the subject matter is trash, and the packaging is trash, it ain't gonna work. I'll tell you who it is working for right now. Cardi B. This is the last artist I'm talking about tonight. Cardi B is on fire, y'all. And why? Because she went back to what made Cardi B Cardi B. It's the goofy playfulness of her personality and combining it with her music and doing the things that the fans enjoyed about her. Being able to interact with her and her show her whole on social media, good and bad. I mean, we love her. And what unfortunately, Drake, you'll never have that level of respect again until you rediscover who you were. Because that's what Cardi has done that you haven't done. She went away for a little bit. She had some kids. She grew as a person. Unfortunately, Drake, we haven't seen you grow as a person. You're still this. I'm in the club. I got these fancy cars. I got more money than you. I got more girls than you. I got more hits than you. Okay, how many songs you gonna say that on, man? We tired of hearing that, man. And then, you know, you were talking about being in love at one time. What happened with that? You not in love no more? You don't love nobody? You don't have anybody to love, Drake? Really? Guess who got all things to talk about? Cardi does. You got all kinds of experiences to talk about because it went away for a little bit. And now it's back. And was so incredibly funny about her approach back to the industry right now is she's taking the grassroots approach. Almost back to the Master P day of things. Y'all come out and holler and hear me over here. We over here at the Bo Bops down here, down on Poland Street. You know where it is. We got these CDs out here. We got some chicken plates for you. Come on over here, see your boy. Come get an album. Come see me. Meanwhile, Drake, you're like, I'm riding around loving me and the camera. And I'm just going to these random places. I'm just out here. And we're like, hey, big dog, what the hell are you doing? Ain't none of this makes sense, dog. What you doing? Meanwhile, you're like, I'm on tour. But this is your music video? And when I get all of this is just content for you, and you're using content as your promotion, but it ain't promoting something noteworthy. It's luster is hell. Meanwhile, Cardi is like, well, I had this court case. Y'all know y'all was there. Y'all might have seen it. I'm gonna put it down as an album title. So my new album that's coming out. Y'all heard I got a new album coming, y'all. Y'all better come out here and see me. I got a tour date coming for my release, y'all. And these are the places I'm gonna see. You be like, I'll be damned. Cardi done found the secret sauce. And I'm willing to bet money there's gonna be some haters out there, which we know they are. They're like, oh, she's all goofy and everything. How you a rapper and you goofy like this? Why not? Oh wait, y'all too serious to be goofy like Cardi B. Y'all gotta be horror. No, when she's like showing y'all literally have some fun, but you can't have fun when you ain't got no fun. Great. What happened to your fun life? Has everybody left you after this Kendrick Lamar beef? Maybe because some truths came out allegedly. Kendrick struck a nerve with you because you try to act like it didn't hit you and nothing phases you, but yet still you talk about him as if it still bothers you. And guess what? Kendrick is living his best life, winning awards still. This man got a second Emmy, and this time for a Super Bowl performance. What? And you know what's gonna be funny to me to see uh Cardi B win awards too because of her way of dealing with everything that's going on. The label said they ain't got the money for me to do this, even if it was true or false. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to my roots. Being out here with my peoples on social media and sharing my personality and what we've seen so far with this Iceman project from you, Drake, is zero personality. And in fact, on Cardi's new release that came out in August, Imaginary Playerz, this woman dropped so much personality and so much spiciness to it. And it's so smooth and it's so chill at the same time. And it showed that softer side of Cardi, but still have a little bite to it. And you only get this from when an artist grows and they have something substance wise to share. And Drake, you've been going so long But you don't really have any substance to share, unfortunately. Take a break, come back later. One of the greatest MCs that took a break and came back later, LL Cool J. And that man came back hard, swinging and rocking the club. Think about it. If he could do it, so can you, Drake. Yeah, I'm done talking. I'm getting off here. I've been on 2 hours, y'all. Flapping my gums. Can't even believe I did it. I did it. I thank y'all for coming back. I appreciate you being in the chat tonight. You guys can follow me on here on YouTube. It's me, Unveiled Vibrations, and you can find me on TikTok there. I do have my musical channel, which is Mr. TD McCollum, aka TD McCollum. I have me 3 singles that's out. Planning on doing some more work, but I am searching for some righteous sounds. And for those, you can find on all streaming platforms except Spotify. I have recently decided to pull my music off of Spotify because of how they treat independent artists. It is horrifying. And I will not be back until you do right by us indies. Spotify. If you like what you heard and want to donate to my channel here, you can cash at me at Mr. TD McCollum on Cash App. And if you want to chat with me offline, you can send me an email at Apostle TD McCollum. Meet me Saturday morning with my compadres, the Light of the Leo and JoJo Speaks, at 10 a.m. for prayer and devotion. We'll be here every Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, so we can fellowship and pray. Thank y'all for dropping by. I really appreciate it. And I have a few comments to catch up on before I get out of here to acknowledge you guys. Thank you, Miss Kim, for coming by. I appreciate it. And she says, I didn't bother to listen to Drake music. I've been listening to the hip hop legends that dropped music recently, Slick Rick. Still going strong. Ghostface. The Ghostface Killer. Yes. The legends indeed are still doing it. And guess what? They all went away and came back. And still doing it. I'm telling you, Drake. Take a break. Miss Kim says she's excited for Cardi B's album. Yes, it is coming out September 19th on a Friday. Because what? She know y'all get paid on a Friday. Jennifer says, love me some Cardi. Yes, indeed. I love her too. She is a hoot and nanny, and her latest promo video that she put on Instagram had me rolling this morning. Oh my god, that girl, she know what she doing, and I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you, my lovely life. Thank you for being here and supporting me. I appreciate it. Thank you for telling me it was a great show. And night night, everyone. I appreciate y'all. See ya next week. Same time, same bad channel. Unveiled Vibrations. 8:30s on Wednesdays. Bye bye.